Cuban graduates and residents, diplomats, friends, and well-wishers gathered at the Financial Administrative Center earlier this month to celebrate over 2 decades of the Saint Lucia-Cuba Friendship Association and 46 years of bilateral diplomatic relations. They began working on the establishment of the association on August 23, 1978. Marlene Alexander, president of the Humanistic Solidarity Association, praised the pioneers and trailblazers for paving the way for the association's expansion.
There was the Saint Lucia-Cuba Friendship Association. Although not registered, it started with 5 revolutionary members of Saint Lucia, namely Earl Busquet, Virginia Albert Poyot, Lawrence Poyot, Mario Michel, and a gentleman named Alan Amity. Deceased, I understand he passed away, I think, sometime this year. They were the original pioneers who started this journey, and we are proud of them. And people, let us give all that is deserving to the first pioneers of the Saint Lucia-Cuba Friendship Association.
The ambassador of Saint Lucia to Mexico, Dr. Peter Lantico, disclosed that Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre requested that he begin talks with the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Cuba, which he did. He revealed that through these discussions, they plan to upgrade the HSA's cooperation program with Cuba.
And this year, a little later this year, we will be signing an upgraded cooperation program with Cuba, which will include even more scholarships for our people. And we will be reintroducing the party-to-party scholarship mechanism that we had many years. I've spoken to the Cubans about it, so we will continue to have our usual portion of national scholarships, but we will also be reintroducing the party-to-party scholarship program that we had with the Cubans, so we'll be having even more graduates from Cuba in the near future.
The ceremony also recognized Raul Javi, the former president of the association, and honored the Cuban Medical Brigade. Minister for Public Service Virginia Albert Poyot recounted her first trip to Cuba.
As Saint Lucia continued to partner with Cuba, we realized that the Cuban philosophy, the Cuban emphasis was one that would benefit Saint Lucia, especially in the areas of education and health. When we visited Cuba in 1978, we were told that education was free from early childhood to university. Every single child had to go to school, and the government would provide the support for education for every single child.
The Cuban ambassador highlighted 20 reasons to celebrate 2 decades of friendship.
Another important reason that gives us all the merit to celebrate these 20 years is remembering those 4 Caribbean leaders that when Cuba was completely isolated, were able to establish diplomatic relations with Cuba, and that started the story of relationship between Cuba and CARICOM. Important also to mention the founders of the association. And those first students, I'm looking at Dr. Campbell. I had the honor of sharing with him an error some days ago, and he was laughing because I told him when you went to Cuba, I was 3 years old.
Since its establishment, the HSA has facilitated 5 student scholarships to Cuba, contributed a container of food products to Cuba during the pandemic, helped establish the Cuban Eye Care program, and provided laptops to students. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.